Howdy gamers, old gamer guy here. I was pleasantly surprised to hear that there was an open beta for the PSVR2 version of the Microsoft Flight Simulator, and that's what I've been waiting for, so I downloaded it. You have to actually buy the game to be in the beta, unless you were in the previous beta, apparently, but I was not. So I'm going to do a free flight and take off from DFW International Airport in North Texas and just kind of give you my very basic, vague first impressions about the game. There is actually some character customization I was surprised to see, but I did not spend a whole lot of time on it. The time I did spend was sort of disappointing though, because there are no beards and I can't really find a face that looks like me or even a skin tone, but no big deal really. We have different modes here, but I am going to go into free flight. I'm not sure if the career mode is even working in the beta. I have not tried it. But I could zoom in on the globe here and look at different airports, but I'm going to just type in DFW and that will bring up a list here. And we are zooming in on North Texas. It is around 2:30 in the afternoon, and apparently this game uses live data if you want it to. There's a bit of a loading screen there, but here we are in North Texas. It's flat. That looks pretty appropriate, and we can hear the tower talking back and forth with our pilot here, and they just kind of keep doing this until you actually take off. But here's what the game does at a different time of day. Like I said, it's using live data, and here I loaded the game up at about 6:30 in the morning on the East Coast, so that would be 5:30 in the morning in DFW. It is a cloudy, rainy morning in DFW, and I actually checked the weather report at that time, and this is actually what was going on in North Texas at that time, but never mind that. Here we are back at 2:30 in the afternoon, and it's nice and sunny. The game does not automatically put you in VR, so you have to go into the settings to turn that on. There are different key bindings. I didn't mess around with any of that. This is all the default settings. Some of that I definitely will mess around with eventually. But here you can see some of the menus as I'm screwing around and doing this. But here we are going into VR mode. I have a co-pilot. You can actually customize your co-pilot as well. But the game doesn't exactly have a proper tutorial that's kind of walking you through everything, and obviously you have a lot of controls, so I couldn't figure out at first how to disengage the parking brake. I was kind of disappointed to realize that you don't control the plane by holding your hand as though you are actually holding a flight stick. You're just using the left analog stick on the VR controller, so that was sort of disappointing, but I am planning to buy a flight stick eventually. You can see I'm controlling a pointer here, and some of these controls are hard to access this way, but finally I saw the instruction that was clearly on the screen the entire time, and I had to actually use the normal PS5 controller for this. The VR controllers would not work to do this, but you have to press square and R1 by default. Like I said, you can change key bindings, and I will change that eventually, but never mind that. We are rolling down the runway. We have our lovely co-pilot here. She kind of reminds me of Lindsay Wagner from the Bionic Woman show. I don't know how many times I have taken off and landed from this particular airport, but this does look pretty accurate as I take off and look out the window, except for the lack of activity. There are no vehicles, no other planes. Well, you saw that one plane in front of me, but other things in the world are sort of rare, and it kind of gives you the impression that you're in a post-apocalyptic situation. The rudder controls are on the right stick. But yeah, there's DFW Airport out the window, and it looks pretty accurate, I think. So I used to live down in this area. I know it fairly well. I haven't lived there in 20 something years, but I still go back and forth through this airport occasionally. And so my plan was to fly north from DFW up toward Denton, which is north of Dallas and Fort Worth. And then I lived in Denton for quite a while, so I was going to fly around Denton and then hit 35 west going south to Fort Worth. And I wanted to look around and see, how familiar the landmarks would seem to me. And I did manage to see some things that looked familiar. I think, I don't know if it's Google Maps, but they are streaming a lot of this graphics data. The game itself is only 8 gigabytes, which is surprisingly small, but they are streaming a lot of this data to your PS5 as you're doing this. So you need a decent internet connection for this to work properly. I'm not sure my internet connection is quite up to speed. Some of the graphics settings are on medium, some of them are on low by default. I haven't really messed around with that stuff at all, so you are seeing some frame rate hitches here and there, and it's not entirely smooth, but it is smooth enough to be pleasant, and I think I will be playing this quite a bit, especially once I get that flight stick controller. I've been saying I was going to get a flight stick for quite a while, and I still haven't done it, obviously, but that is still the plan. We have a little PDA over here on the right side of the cockpit, some sort of a tour you can take through there, but I'm not going to do that while I'm in the air. You can see my hand is shaking a little bit there. I am drinking my morning coffee, but here I am heading north. We're flying over Argyle here, which is a familiar name to me, although I've never seen it from this altitude, so I have no idea how accurate this is. But there is Lake Grapevine as we continue to the north. I'm curious, I don't know what that is down there either. It makes me want to look at Google Maps as I play, but I can't really do it as I have this VR helmet on. But we're going to continue to the north. Here we are flying over Flower Mound, and what I'm looking for is 35 east, going north from Dallas into Denton. But yeah, this is Flower Mound. Once again, I've never seen it from this altitude. It looks really cool as I'm looking out the window, but I don't know how accurate this is. I'm not sure. That must be a high school football stadium down there. Of course, football is big in Texas, as we all know. The graphics look pretty good. They are a little bit fuzzier than I was expecting, I have to admit. Aces of Thunder was quite sharp in comparison. This one is a little bit fuzzier. Here's a look at some of these graphics options. You can pause this right here and take a look at these, but by default a lot of them are on medium, some of them are on low, but that doesn't really affect that fuzziness thing. That's just, I guess, I don't know if that's because of my internet connection or what, but it's not quite as sharp as Aces of Thunder was. But never mind that. I have located the 35 east going north. I'm flying towards Denton, and holy crap, I can see the Denton Mall down there. That was, I don't know if it's still called the Golden Triangle Mall. I was laughing right there. You can see my head shaking. But that used to be called the Golden Triangle Mall. And then just past that on 35, I think this is Dallas Drive that kind of peels off to the right. And I actually used to live in a townhouse kind of down in this area here. It looks fairly accurate. I can see Fort Worth Drive crossing over right there, and I sort of lived right there by that intersection. The University of North Texas is in here. I found the stadium, but a lot of the rest of it didn't look all that familiar. So I flew around for a while, and then I decided to head down 35 west toward Fort Worth, and I think this is 35 west that I'm flying parallel to here. I'm not positive, but I'm just going to head that direction. It's going generally the right direction. I noticed there was like traffic on the road, but it wasn't moving, so I flew down a little closer. And yeah, like I said, I don't know if this is Google Maps, but we do have cars on the road there. It's like a photograph, so they're just flat. But flying south on 35, I eventually spotted what used to be called the Texas Motor Speedway. I don't know if it's still called that, but I was here one time. I went to one race down here, so I decided to fly over this, and once again you get sort of a sort of a post-apocalyptic feel as you fly over some of this stuff. If you really look at it, it looks like it was maybe it wasn't hit directly by a bomb, but there was maybe a bomb nearby and a shockwave did some damage. But let's continue down 35. And at a certain point you start thinking, I should be able to see Fort Worth by now. And eventually it does pop into view. I think it's a little bit later than it really should technically, but nothing too objectionable. There's not a whole lot of pop-in going on considering how much stuff is on the screen. I believe this is the north part of the 820 loop, and 35 continues south past Fort Worth and down towards Austin. Is this the Trinity River? This is a river a little bit north of Fort Worth. I think this is the Trinity River. And now we're starting to see downtown Fort Worth a little bit better. It doesn't look quite as detailed as I would like, but it's still pretty cool. I grew up west of Fort Worth, so I'm going to turn to the right here and follow this east-west highway. Is it 20 or 30? Something like that. Highway 30, Highway 20, maybe both of them at the same time for a while, but yeah, we're turning to the west. And as we fly over this highway system here, some of these roads are looking really wild and really bombed out in a way. Eventually I came to a place that looked almost like a bunch of train tracks, which I don't really remember, but it's been a long time since I lived down there, and there's been a lot of development since I left. So yeah, it looks almost like a bunch of train tracks here to the left, but that may just be a bunch of roads that the game is rendering in a weird way. I have family and friends that still live in this area, so I should probably show them some of this footage and see what they think about it. But I continued to the west. I flew over my old neighborhood and then out past to the west of Fort Worth. And I was looking for my old elementary school out here, but I never could really find it. So I decided to turn back around and fly back to the east toward Dallas. So I'm going to fly past Fort Worth again. I looked for my old high school on this road. It should have been visible, and maybe I just didn't see it, but I did not notice it. So Some stuff you can definitely recognize, and then some stuff you may have to look for. But the overall effect is very, very cool, I would say. So continuing to the east past Fort Worth, you're going towards Arlington, and there should be some recognizable landmarks out that way, and there are. There is AT&T Stadium there. That's the one with the marker over it. That's where the Cowboys play. I've never actually been in this stadium. I was in Texas Stadium, the previous one, but I have never been inside of AT&T Stadium. You can actually see the words on the roof there. And then over here to the left, this is where the Texas Rangers play baseball. I've never been in this one either. But just on the other side of this one, I don't know what it's called, but just on the other side of that stadium is the ballpark, which is where the Rangers used to play. And this stadium I have been inside a few times. In fact, I don't know if it's still there, but I used to have a brick with my name on it that my ex-wife got for me at Christmas or a birthday or something. But never mind that. Here is Six Flags to the right, and once again it looks like it may have taken some indirect nuclear bomb damage, but it is recognizable as Six Flags. One of those must be like the tower. What's that called? The tower where the elevator, the Tower of Terror? Is that what it's called? I have been to Six Flags many times, but yeah, it's been a while. But never mind that. Let's continue toward Dallas. I'm not really recognizing much of this, but there is some weird graphic stuff going on there that I wanted to show you. I am liking this very much, but I don't want to be overly complimentary when there were some things that bugged me. I don't see a Reunion Tower here in Dallas at all, so that's kind of a bummer. But once again, overall, the effect is very cool. You know, this does look familiar to me, even though it's not exactly accurate. And I was about to have to turn the game off, so I decided to fly through these buildings here and be a little bit of a daredevil. And thankfully I did not crash my plane. But I do like this, don't get me wrong. I do like this. There are some things about it that were a bit disappointing. After Aces of Thunder was so clear, that was really making me look forward to this game even more in VR, but it's not quite that clear, so that's a bit of a disappointment. But overall, I do like this. I will be playing it. I'm sure I'll make some more videos. But for now, as always, thanks for watching.